Most people who dream of working at SpaceX imagine the rockets. The ones who actually make it there spend most of their time on the plumbing. And the ones who reach the top spend most of their time being responsible when something goes wrong. Level 1. Intern. You are 21 years old and you are standing on a factory floor in Hawthorne, California. There is a Falcon 9 booster 30 feet away. No glass between you and it, no velvet rope, just the rocket. Your badge says intern. You have been here 4 days. On your second day, someone points out a booster in the refurbishment bay. It has soot on it, scorch marks along the base from re-entry heat, a few dents in the grid fins from atmospheric friction at Mach 5. This booster has already flown. It went to space, separated from its payload at 60 miles altitude, turned itself around, reignited its engines, and landed itself back on a pad. And now it is here, being inspected, being repaired, being made ready to do it again. Before SpaceX, rockets were thrown away, every single one. You flew a $70 million vehicle once and then let it fall into the ocean. The industry had accepted this as physics. SpaceX decided it wasn't. That decision is why you are standing in this building. Your manager hands you a hardware spec and tells you the test is in 6 weeks. Not 6 weeks to learn the system, 6 weeks to ship something that works. At night, you read documentation until midnight. On weekends, you come back in. Not because anyone told you to, because the person at the next bench is already here. By week 3, you are running thermal analysis on a component that will fly, not simulate. Not model for a class. Fly. You don't know yet what it costs to build something you can't take back. At the end of summer, your manager asks if you want to come back full-time. You say yes before he finishes the sentence. Level 2. Associate engineer. You move to Hawthorne. You find an apartment 20 minutes from the factory. You tell yourself it's temporary. The question at this level is not whether you can do the work, it's whether you can survive the pace. SpaceX launched 96 times in 2023. That is roughly one rocket every 4 days. You feel it in the building. The compression, the overlap, one vehicle on the pad while the next is being integrated behind you. There is no off-season. There is no recovery week after a launch. There is only the next one. 3 months in, a launch scrubs at T-minus 7 minutes. Weather. You've been on console for 11 hours. The vehicle rolls back. The team resets. Same thing in 48 hours. You go home, sleep 4 hours, and come back. This is not the dramatic part. This is just Tuesday. 4 months in, you make a mistake. A tolerance error in a bracket specification. Caught in manufacturing, not in flight, but caught. Your lead looks at it, doesn't yell, asks how you'll prevent it next time. You give an answer. He nods once and moves on. You understand then that the culture isn't cruel. It's just fast. And fast means the feedback is immediate and the forgiveness is short. The thing SpaceX cannot forgive is the same mistake twice. 2 engineers on your team leave in your first year, not fired, just gone. They say they took other offers. You don't ask for details. You learn to ship. You learn to own the mistake before someone else finds it. You learn that at SpaceX, the rocket is always the priority. You are second. You stayed. At SpaceX, that already means something. Level 3. Engineer. 3 years pass. Your title changes. Your system gets bigger. You own the avionics interface on a Dragon capsule now. Dragon carries crew. If your system fails on orbit, the people inside notice. At level 2, a mistake costs you a conversation with your lead. Here the calculation is different. You check the nominal checklist differently now. That's all. You are 26. Your first real launch day comes, not watching from a parking lot on a live stream. You are in the building, at a console, with a headset. Your system is on the nominal checklist. T-minus 10 minutes. The astronauts are in the vehicle now. Your hands don't shake. By now, that's almost the strange part. The rocket lifts. You watch the telemetry. 2.5 minutes in, the first stage cuts its engines, stage separation. The upper stage carries the payload to orbit. The first stage is now falling, alone upside down 60 miles above the Earth. Then something happens that still doesn't feel real, even after you've seen it a dozen times in the data. The booster flips. 3 of its 9 Merlin engines relight for the boost back burn, pushing against its own momentum, reversing direction. Grid fins deploy along the sides, 4 of them the size of coffee tables, rotating to steer through the upper atmosphere. At 70,000 feet, 3 engines relight again to slow the descent. Then, in the last few seconds, a single engine carries it the rest of the way down. Landing legs extend, 4 of them unfolding from the base. The booster touches down, 9 minutes after launch, 3 miles from the pad. You helped design one of the systems that just performed, and you still watch the whole thing like you'd never seen it before. The landing boom arrives before you expect it. It hits the chest. A few people flinch. You're still watching the data. Your system performed exactly as designed. You don't cheer. You watch the data. That's how you know it worked. Outside the building afterward, someone opens a bottle. You stay for one drink. Then you go back to your desk. The next launch is in 41 days. What you don't tell anyone, you haven't called your parents in 3 weeks. Not because anything is wrong, because there hasn't been a moment that wasn't about the work. This is the level where SpaceX stops being a dream and starts being your life. The two are not always the same thing. Level 4. Senior Engineer. 5 more years. You have shipped 23 launches. You have been on 2 anomaly investigation teams. You have written reports that changed how the company builds things. You are on Starship now. That means everything changes. Falcon 9 had 10 years of iteration behind it. Starship has a whiteboard and a schedule that Elon set 18 months ago. 400 feet tall. 33 Raptor engines on the booster alone, burning liquid methane at pressures no production engine had ever sustained. When they fired the full stack on the pad for the first time, the ground cracked. Concrete chunks flew 500 feet. They had not accounted for the blast pressure beneath the vehicle. Nobody had done this before. That is the environment you are working in now. Your job is no longer about owning a system. It's about owning the gaps between systems, the interfaces where one team's assumption meets another team's assumption, and nobody has checked whether they match. 6 months into Starship, a pressure test on a propellant tank fails. The data is ambiguous. The test team says it's a sensor error. Your gut says it isn't. You push back. This delays the schedule by 3 weeks. It also prevents a potential failure mode that would have grounded the program. You're not thanked for this. You're noted for it. One Tuesday afternoon, Elon walks through your bay. Not a tour. He works here. He stops at your station and asks why a component is routed the way it is. You explain. He asks a follow-up. You answer it. He nods and keeps walking. That night, you replay the conversation 3 times. Not because you think you were wrong, because at this level, being unsure is enough to bother you. At this level, the work is no longer about proving you can do the job. The question now is different. Can you make the right call when no one knows what the right call is? Level 5, Principal Engineer. You are 34. You have been at SpaceX for 11 years. Your title is Principal Engineer. It doesn't tell people much. What it means, when the hard problem doesn't have an owner, it gets assigned to you, and everyone is watching what you do with it. This year, the problem is Raptor engine production. SpaceX needs to build hundreds of them. The supply chain was never designed for this volume. The tolerances are tighter than anything the vendors have held before. 3 suppliers have already said they can't meet the spec. You are the one who has to decide, do you change the spec, find new suppliers, or build the manufacturing capability in-house? Each answer has consequences that will last a decade. You sit in a review with Elon on a Thursday afternoon. You have a slide deck. You have run the numbers 3 ways. You have a recommendation that adds 8 months to the schedule. You give him the number, he pushes back. He wants it in 3. You tell him 3 is not possible without accepting a failure rate that will ground the program. The room is quiet. He asks you why. You explain it. He pushes again, you hold. He accepts the number. 8 months. You are often the last person in the room still pushing back. Not because you enjoy it, because you've been right enough times that people stop and listen. At home, on the weekends that exist, you notice your apartment looks the same as it did 4 years ago. Same furniture, same nothing on the walls. People from your graduate program send LinkedIn updates, promotions at Boeing, at Lockheed, at Northrop, titles that sound impressive, schedules that end at 6. You don't envy them, but sometimes at 11 p.m. on a Thursday, you think about what 6 o'clock feels like. You think about it for a few minutes, then you go back to work. Level 6. Vice President. There is no standard path to this level. There is only you were there, you were right, repeatedly, for a long time. And eventually, the decisions you made are visible in how the company is structured. You oversee a discipline now across 3 sites: Hawthorne, Boca Chica, Cape Canaveral. 600 engineers inside your org, another 400 who depend on decisions yours makes. Your week is headcount reviews, production forecasts, cross-site scheduling calls at 6 a.m. because Florida is 3 hours ahead and Boca runs on Texas time. The Starship 5th integrated flight test is 3 weeks out. Your propulsion lead tells you a Raptor on the booster has a seal that is marginal, within spec, but at the edge of the tolerance band. He wants to swap it. Swapping it delays the launch by 6 days. Elon has the launch date in a tweet. You make the call to swap it. You call Elon yourself. He is not happy about the delay. You walk him through the data. He accepts it. The launch slips 6 days. The seal on the replacement engine is fine. The mission is nominal. Nobody outside this building will ever know that call happened. Inside, it is the kind of thing people remember about you. When a test does fail, and over a long enough career one does, you are in the room where the answer has to come from, not the technical answer. The team answer: who needs to be restructured? Which process failed? How you prevent it from happening again without making the organization too afraid to move fast. Elon calls directly now, not every week, but when it matters. You have not written a line of engineering documentation in 3 years. You know this. You don't dwell on it. You made a trade, the craft you came here to do, in exchange for the decisions that determine whether anyone gets to do it at all. Most days that feels right. Not all of them. Right now, somewhere in Hawthorne, there is a 21-year-old with a new badge. Standing 30 feet from a Falcon 9 booster. No glass, no rope. They don't know yet what this place costs. They don't know about the launch scrubs and the anomaly reports and the 11 p.m. Thursdays. They don't know about the apartments that stay exactly the same because there's never time. Or the calls they'll push back for 1 more week. They don't know about the day, years from now, when a seal is marginal and 600 people are waiting to see what they decide. They just know the rocket is real. And right now, that's enough.